Mubarak.
Your Excellencies, Mr. Khalil, ladies and gentlemen, it is our great pleasure this evening from Majlis Khonji to introduce Engineer Saleh Al-Shanfari. He is a remarkable man, a man who has achieved a great deal in his life. May I say a few words? Currently, he has executive and governance roles. He is the CEO of Oman Food Investment Holding Company. He is the chairman of Al Nama Poultry. He is chairman of the executive committee for the Mazoon Dairy. He also has responsibilities outside of Oman, a board of director member for a bank, a director of a leading investment board covering the Middle East, North Africa, focusing on SMEs. He's also, importantly, for us here in Oman, chairman of the Food Security Committee at the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry. His focus is to drive food security in Oman and to help Oman become a hub for food in the region. But a long, long time ago, Engineer Saleh graduated from Iowa State University in the USA, where he received his education in agronomy. And then he moved to England, where he did a master's in global management at the University of Salford. This evening, we are privileged to have Engineer Saleh speak to us on themes that include megatrends in the food sector, Oman as a food hub within our region, import substitution, because most of you will know something like 90% of all food is imported. And very, very importantly, job creation opportunities. I'd like to hand over to our chairman, Mr. Khalil, and thank you, Engineer Saleh, for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, this was a good introduction for Engineer Saleh. We worked together since 2007 when there were big hikes in prices. And since then, of course, we've been working together. We would like to welcome Engineer Saleh and also welcome you and welcome Their Excellencies, Ambassador of India and Ambassador of Korea. And I think we have representative from the FAO as well. But later on we will be, meeting them. نرحب بكم جميعا والمهندس صالح نستطيع أن نبدأ الآن. تفضل.
طيب سعادتك. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Your Excellency, for softer introduction. Yes, I should say first of all, I'm honored to be here with such a distinguished audience. Thank you for those excellencies who made it this time to have me as part of their thought process. I know some of you are committed and purposely they've decided to join us. Let me start by just giving you a brief introduction of Oman Food Investment Holding Company. Why I want to do this is to give homage to His Excellency Khalil. 2008, myself was privileged to be part of a delegation with His Highness Sayyid Fahad to Iran. And we were given audience with His Excellency that time to speak. This is 2007, immediately after we had the cyclone Guno. And then we traveled together. I know that time my house was also flooded and drowned, but I have to travel. I cannot say no to Khalil. So we did, and then one of the ambitions that we were asked to talk about is what do we see for the future of Oman? And then I was given the chance to explain the difficulty the world would be facing with food security. And it was 2008 onwards. We have seen spikes of food shortage and price hikes globally, where countries were stopped eventually, virtually they stopped the export of food, like what happened a few weeks ago here. So my vision was explained. His Excellency Khalil supported it, and when we came back to Oman, we've just created a small announcement on one of the local newspapers. That small announcement got noticed by the late His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, may peace, tranquility be upon his soul. So it was adopted, and from that time we worked together with His Excellency Khalil to make it a reality. Luckily, toward the end of 2011, Khalid Ansari was there. Hello, Khalid. Khalid did a great job by.
Yeah. Hi, engineer. I'm here.
Yeah, Khalid, you can remember the story when you invited you to help us in doing the feasibility study for the holding company, right? You must remember this very well.
Yep, I remember the whole story, yeah.
Okay, good. From that time, when Khalid presented the feasibility study, along with the steering committee that both myself and Khalil were there, it took some time to go through it, to review it, to do the proper due diligence. And by the end of 2012, a company was formed. It was called Oman Food Investment Holding Company. And the government decided not to let the private sector do it because they know private sector at that time didn't have the money to do it. And they want to do it right. So, His Majesty Qaboos decided that the government should be able to start the company and work very closely with the private sector to promote various projects. So it happened, since that time, we started looking at, after Khalid Ansari did his study, and I was asked to start a company. So I was asked to come along with a roadmap of the future. So my thinking was that we have to start from somewhere, and that somewhere was looking at gap analysis. Some of the methodologies that were presented yesterday by Dr. Ahmed Al-Amri were used, but we used more of a gap analysis practical approach that showed us that Oman is lacking number of commodities, what we call food shortage. So we were looking at self-sufficiency, import substitution in our local production, and we were able to see the major sort of gaps in various commodities, and these include the likes of dairy, red meat, and feed, and various products that would be needed to supply the local demand, like white meat and eggs and so on. So what we did, we came up with a strategy that covers the spectrum that that covers from feed, flour mills, fish, milk collection, dairy production, dates, meat production, white meat, fish canning, and a various sort of foods that are needed in the country, are importing. And we know for sure that there are things that we cannot produce locally. However, we can import, we can add value, and we can create possibilities and verticals and various directions that allow the country to have a sustainable food production. At the same time, it's not only us. I mean, there are various players in the food sector that are also doing good job. The likes of Saleh flour mills and the likes of Taus in vegetable production and other players whom we really pay a lot of respect because they've started much, much earlier. At the same time, 2016 onwards, the government decided to give us, to pass to us, the legacy in the food sector, like Oman Flour Mills, Oman Fisheries, and Oman National Livestock. Some of these companies like National Livestock and Oman Fisheries were suffering, and our role was to work very closely with the management, to restructure these companies. Alhamdulillah, I mean, I can say proudly, as of today, there was a lot of improvement. We have changed the boards, we have reshuffled the management and restructured and created another direction, strategic direction for these companies. So hopefully by this quarter, end of this quarter, we will see better results coming from various transferred companies. And luckily speaking, all of you, those of you who have converted to Mazoon Dairy, I'd like to thank them very much. And those of you in the audience who are still reluctant, I'd love to see you, maybe by Eid time to start tasting our flagship product, which is the Mazoon Dairy product. So that's more of a plea to all of you to give us a try. Hopefully you will like it. And many of them already converted from other brands to Mazoon Dairy. Mazoon Dairy started also with an idea that while we don't have enough forage to feed the animals, we've created a totally different model. The model is like this. Thus, given the scarcity, limited resources in the country, water and what have you, we'll bring the animals from as far as Australia. The question, why Australia? Because where we brought these animals have a heat stress gene. They have a heat stress gene, and that gene, gene مقاوم للحرارة, that heat stress gene helps the animals adapt to our harsh conditions in the Sunaina area. Sunaina area is between Ibri and Brahmi, for those who hear about it for the first time. It's close to the sand dunes of Brahmi, and it's and why sand dunes? Yes, we wanted the sand dunes to play as a bedding for these animals. These animals came from a green forage area where they have been like laying and sleeping on a more greener, more lush green area. So now instead of giving them a big shock of the bedding, I mean, they can adapt with the colors of the sand. However, they have to to sit and lay somewhere on a very soft sort of bedding, and the soft bedding comes from the sand dunes, a very beautiful softer sand dunes that provides that laying bedding. So and also the sand dunes would help in absorbing the moisture. So you'll always find these animals are dry. Animals hate humidity, and they hate the being in a sluggish running water area. They produce less, and they have other health problems. So that sand dunes works very well in providing a dry environment. At the same time, being in a dry area helps in controlling moisture. Animals would do much better in a drier area. Humidity increases mortality, and also provide a very tough environment for suffocation. So animals won't be able to produce better if you have a humid environment. So where production increases, you need to have a very, very dry environment. And we control heat, and we control dry environment by having a weather system on the roofs of the bins that allows curtains to drop if you have heavy winds, and then we have mist making fans that cools the animals if heat happens. So inside the bins you would have a gradient temperature of maybe around 20 degrees. So you will always have these animals in a very dry as well as comfortable environment. This is just to give you a brief. Sometimes people ask us, why do you have your animals like chicken and animals, big animals raised in the desert, like the chicken? We started a Safa chicken 20 years ago, and we have chosen the desert of Dhofar to have this project there. And people were thinking and laughing at us and say, why you choose the desert? It's very hot there. Yes, it is hot. We can manage heat, but we cannot manage humidity, gentlemen. This is a scientific approach to farming. You have to know exactly, what are the parameters that makes these animals, be it chicken or big animals or large animals. And therefore, we have chosen for al-Bashair meat, for example, we're building the largest meat project almost in the world. I mean, an integrated project in the world that will be able to house 1.3 heads of animals every year, with a huge slaughterhouse that be able to produce a lot of meat, a lot of animals. Here, the idea is to bring animals from all over the world and finish them here. Finish them means we are, trying to get to the taste that is liked by the Omani, which is a fresh taste, grain and grass-fed animals that would come to the from farm to table, to the fork, from farm to fork, with a taste that suits the Omani taste. Well, this is an example how we've taken a journey from where it was an idea and an airplane, myself and His Excellency Khalil, along with a number of business people. Some of them are with us here, and with a number of ministers. And then it took us from a thinking process of an idea that was taken by Khalid Ansari, converted into a feasibility study, and then we took it 2013 onwards until today, and created a spectrum of projects. And we have promoted a number of projects, and we still continue monitoring and still continue supporting the management of these companies. One of the beautiful corporate governance styles of managing these projects is like this. I mean, this is one of the things that triggered me to do my master's degree in corporate governance. It was a study, a comparative study between state-owned company. OFIC is an example, a pure example of a state-owned company. It was a comparison between state-owned companies and publicly listed companies. And the study was meant to help me personally adapt and adopt better systems, be able to manage myself and to accommodate myself in a non-normal environment. What I did in the spectrum of state-owned companies, I've decided, along with the blessings and support from my board, who have given me upper hand on doing whatever I was right. So what I did, I said, look, this is government money, and I will not take a full risk, of investing all the money in one project. So what I did, limited money was given to me. I've decided to spread it all over a number of projects. So when you see this, this number of projects, you will know it's coming from very, very limited funding. The money that we received from government was very, very limited. It was started maximum we got from government as cash was only 8 million Omani Riyal. This is just to disclose this. Please don't publish this. Those journalists who are with us. This is not meant to disclose. It's just for you. The total funds that we received from government was only 8 million Omani Riyal, and then later on I've decided to go for a better mode of funding by raising money from the market. So some of these projects, for example, the Mazoon Dairy project was, total investment was 100 million Omani Riyal, which is around $159 million. But our share is only 20%. The share of OFIC, the government-owned company, is minimum 20%. And that applies to a number of these projects in front of you. We've decided that we have limited resources, and to be able to spread and spread all over sort of better assets and manage the risk much efficiently, we need to spread that little money over a number of projects, while also receiving dividends coming from some of the companies which were doing very well, like Oman Flour Mills, and still do. So and then raising money from local banks. What we did, it was a combination of government funding, and direct income coming from dividends, and at the same time raising money from the local banks. This way, we were able to address the need for more projects in the country. So what we do, we approach very selected business houses, those mostly long-term houses, the likes of government, pension funds and government-owned companies that see the future with a more long-term sort of approach. And these are the people that we try to approach. We were able to secure also funding from, participate in equity contribution from FDIs. So we have the major one is AAAID, which is a major investor in all food projects in Oman. And in fact, these are the people who have started As-Safa Poultry with us a long time ago. There was this 2001. They started with us, and they made a lot of money, I should say. During time, the story that we heard about when the investors that time, 2006, decided to liquidate As-Safa because of the difficulties in the market, and because of the increase in raw material and competition coming from all over the world. And then H1N1 was an example of people were reluctant to buy chicken and so on. So we have a combination of various problems, and luckily I was able to present a story, to sell a story to the board, and then I was able to convince them with a lot of difficulty to restructure the As-Safa. The same people who want to liquidate the company, they close it that time when their value was $1.75 million. They were able to sell their shares after a few years for $109 million. It was their exit sort of gift. There was an example of how in Oman we were able to really make this sector very attractive. So there were some of the good stories that I'd love to share with you. There is a lot of difficulties that we faced, and till today we always face the difficulty of some investors not able to continue for so many reasons. Changing interest, changing strategies, being taken over by another investor who have no interest in food, and then changing environment, and sometimes personal sort of affiliation to something, and sometimes maybe they don't like, somebody like myself with my aggressive style, because one of the difficulties to work with me is that I don't slow down, I don't stop, and I just continue with the targets, And what are these targets? I want to share with you these targets, because it's very important to see how we think. We at the company, just a little bit. Afik is a state-owned company, so he mandated to promote food security through partnership with various government agencies, private operators, investors, and so on. So this is how we really present ourselves to the world, and our vision is to be the recognized leader for promoting strategic investment in the food sector locally and internationally. So the purpose is just to improve food security in Oman. So we continue this journey by also explaining what is our mission, and our mission is very clear. So we invest individually for those projects that no interest coming from private sector and funds, and we also work with strategic investors outside Oman to make sure that self-sufficiency and food security is attained through these investment these investment patterns. We think that Oman provides a lot of opportunities, but we have to focus very clearly on objectives. We cannot do anything and everything, so we have to target commercially viable project, and then we have to have a clear exit strategy for every project we invest in, and work very closely with the private sector and public sector stakeholders like ministries, like Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade and Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, and Public Authority for Storage and Reserve, PASFER. And while doing that, I mean, we have a team who really understand very well that we have to work in a very sustainable, efficient practice all over the value chain. And I'll show you examples how we were able to really promote best practices and do what we call sustainable sustainable and responsible agricultural practices in Oman. And then we have to target a mix of agri projects in basically covering the rural areas. So our priority really to work very closely with the villagers, with the wilayats, and with the governors. That's why we have chosen mostly desert areas or rural areas to work with the people for so many reasons. One of the reasons would be to develop these remote areas and create jobs, and do not compete with the urban water needs. So usually we're in areas which are border driven, and they are much away from major cities and desert areas where nobody lives, and the water there is usually migrating water. So we usually focus in utilizing water, mostly brackish water. We do have desalination because this is the water that have to go to food processing, have to be desalinated, and this is the water that goes for the animals to drink. So, but usually we have very limited use of this fresh water in agriculture production. We believe that have to be done in a different manner. So we do not really compete with the locals for the use of water. We also leverage competitive and comparative allocation of Oman. We believe Oman, despite the fact that it is classified as an arid area, we believe if we go to the details, like the picture you see behind me, there are various areas and zones in Jabal al-Akhdar, in the Dhofar, in the interior, and various places where there are yes, fragile what we call resources. If managed very well, we still can produce a lot of food with less water. And this is one of the mottos that we use. We say that one of the roles is to produce more with less, and that's how really we do, and by means and ways of reuse and recycle. One of the good stories that we have built the first biogas plant in the country, in the Mazoon dairy, and we are the first dairy plant in the whole region to convert the slurry, from the cow dung to energy. What is a waste to energy? A good example of waste to energy project that we're able until today to produce half mega of electricity from the waste that is coming from. So this is for some of you who really wanted to look at the possibilities of converting waste to energy. We're ready to support. We're ready to help. I think Dr. Lamia is with us, and Dr. Lamia has done, I think, a study on this, and I think she had done a presentation on this project. This is the first project of its kind in the region, but I know other companies are also following suit, like Rawabi in the UAE. I mean, I'm proud to have worked very closely with Rawabi when I was a director there. I was supported them to develop their strategies. So I think they will follow the same. And this is a good example of, you know, how we responsible agriculture is important for the country. What is there for us? You know, we have to see the future. I mean, the future is bright for Oman, I should say. But as a company, you know, as a company working together, we need to go a little bit, you know, sort of move, because now we see the need for creating a platform for marketing agriculture produce, you know, vegetables and fruits. We see the need to develop a food technopark. We're working very closely with the likes of TRC and IJAD to develop a food technopark. The purpose of the food technopark is to create, you know, an incubator system that allows SMEs and innovators in the food technology and food production to come along with their ideas. Our role is to help them, guide them, do proper testing, and then incubate the ideas and provide funding to have startups starting with us. And that's the way we see the world. You have to provide a platform for young Omanis and non-Omanis from all over the world. Invite them to come and to see the possibilities of starting up projects in Oman. All of you are very, very familiar with the scenes like this one. You know, this is a scene that you all noticed early days of COVID-19, where shelves in major cities in the world, not Oman, but major cities in the West, were emptied. I mean, this is a situation why Oman has not really gone to this. From 2008 onwards, we were ready 2008 onwards to face difficulties like this one. So luckily we were able to face the situation quite you know, efficiently by working together between the Chamber of Commerce, various ministries, and ASEAN, who have opened all ports for direct imports from India, Pakistan, the likes of Iran and other places, and worked very closely with Oman Aviation Group to have direct flight food imports to Oman. And thanks to, you know, His Excellency the Ambassador of India and various friends from all over the world. To Oman, and still food is pouring to Oman. In fact, I should not disclose a secret if I told you today we have started looking at re-export, and I mean, that's the idea of having Oman as a food hub. I mean, when we started 2008, 2013, thinking of converting Oman into a food hub, the idea was this, that we'll always have surplus food that we can re-export. At the same time, we can work with various friendly nations to bring in their food. We're the closest to Iran, India, Pakistan, you know, East Africa. We're the closest to Asia, you know, so we can bring in food here, process it, repackage it, and re-export it, add value to it. Oman food quality assurance is quite stringent. You know, one of the toughest food quality you know, standards that I have faced in my life. A lot of testing, a lot of quality check, a lot of high standards, you know, that are applied, and you know, so that helps us in really feeling confident that Oman, with this current situation, can really look at the future with a lot of confidence. We're also looking at developing a food logistic sort of you know, group. We have a company called Alamin Logistics, owned by the group, and we're looking at converting it into a logistic arm of the group. All of you are welcome to be part of this. And we're also looking at developing a coconut farm, where we're working with various you know, Indian companies and Australian companies and Sri Lankan firms who have showed interest to be part of this you know, integrated coconut farm in the south of Oman. These examples that showed that why we're looking at the future more differently. We're also looking and building up a private equity fund, so in time we'd like to be more agile and be more flexible in investing with people like yourselves who have a great food idea and maybe other opportunities. We're also looking at developing an electronic digital commodity platform that allows us to work together with the suppliers and buyers in Oman and elsewhere to provide and to do deals much faster and to go to the second tier of grain suppliers to work very closely with us in the country. But look, I mean, this is not the end of the story. We have to understand what are the mega trends in the food sector, and also we have to see how the world is thinking. Since we have Her Excellency, here, I think she'll be very happy with this picture. I know for sure she'd love to see the 17, SDGs well presented and taken care of. So Oman have really been working very closely with Her Excellency's office and with various UN agencies to look at sustainable development goals to be integrated, embedded in various plans. So you can see, for example, climate action, life below sea, no poverty, and then zero hunger, and good health and well-being are quite important to the way we do business, and they can be easily embedded in clean water and sanitation, also what we call water treatment and recycling, and then responsible consumption and production. So these are some of the way we have embedded in our studies. We see the world much differently. So if we say, okay, let's limit ourselves, we cannot cover all the major goals, but these are the goals that easily apply for food security. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, and climate action, and life on land, and maybe life below sea. If we add that, because we also work with the fisheries and we work very closely with the ecosystem of, because we own Oman Fisheries, another fish canning project, so we work very closely with the fishermen. In fact, like this time where borders were closed and there was a limited sort of access, we have used our fisheries arm, Oman Fisheries, to go to the remote places like Musandam and the Moseira Island and other places to help the fishermen to sell their fish catch. So we were able there to work with them very closely, because we know we have to support SMEs and work very closely with individuals to have better living. It was difficult for them early times of the COVID-19 breakout, but alhamdulillah, today we have replaced their export to neighboring countries, and we're able to take all that fish from them and repack it and re-export it. Oman today exports fish to more than 80 countries in the world. We have daily supply of fish to the US and to China and to most European cities. In fact, Umayma, you're in Italy. Italy is one of the biggest consumers of Omani fish. We supply to Milan. From Milan, it goes to whole European countries. So, well, these are the examples of our more sophisticated way of thinking, but trying to embed the goals of SDGs, to create a sustainable sort of thinking process in the way we develop, food project for the world, for Oman. But since this is the way of thinking, well, look what is happening with the world. I mean, today we have COVID-19. We have countries have suffered food shortage, and the world is changing quite fast. But to explain how the world is changing very fast, since you're not hungry, all you have breaking your fast, and you have taken your food, so I can share with you this picture. So 2050, this is how our plates may look like. Quite funny, right? So this may happen in the future. We have to imagine. This is very imaginable dish of some young of you who are here with us, who will definitely have the chance of being able to eat something like this in 30 years from now. So the young people here, hopefully you will enjoy this. Look, I mean, we have to see how the world is changing. You know, one of the major trends, and it is coming, is that we have to look at what you call functional foods. You know, so functional foods is the way forward. I mean, people are quite careful today of going to hospital. You know, and they wanted the food that helps their immune system and that covers their basic needs of, you know, the basic element, micronutrients, vitamins, and what have you, the needs of your body, with the calories. You know, with the calories also you want to also have everything. So maybe you need to encapsulate everything together. So this, you know, this leads us to thinking more out of the capsule. You know, thinking out of the box by looking at you know, what we call nutraceuticals. You know, nutraceuticals, الأغذية العلاجية والدوائية. Nutraceuticals, it's a coined word. It's a combination of nutrients and pharmaceuticals. So, you know, genetic engineering, DNA, is the way forward for the world, and including Oman. So, you know, we really like to think differently. Everybody can see this picture clearly? Hello?
Yes, it's coming through very well.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. So, I mean, this is how we imagine the world. True, it will not look like this, but the seed would definitely have some kind of, you know, functional elements that allow our bodies to get enough from the food that we eat. So our food is our medicine. That's the way we're thinking. For example, we need food that allows our body to absorb enough of basic nutrients and vitamins and minerals that makes us, you know, immune to diseases and to problems. This is the way the world should think, and in Oman, I think we have to think like this. And the only way to do this is by understanding where the world is heading. You know, so I think we need to do a lot of experimental work. We have to do a lot of R&D and innovation. You know, take our basic foods that we use today, work very closely with scientists from university research, you know, bodies. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad and Dr. Lamia, and those from academia who are with us today. I mean, we need to work very closely with everybody to make sure that Oman can really go to the world with something which is different. Everybody is producing food. Can Oman, for example, specialized in 3D printed food? You know, this edge-breaking technology that would make somebody more sort of, I should say, more elaborate and more clear to the world. What we are offering the world should be different and not produced like everyone else is producing. Everybody producing vegetables, almost, but not everybody is producing food which is having everything inside that we need. At the same time, it looks great, you know, it looks different. And it's also safe because there's a very, very limited human intervention here. It's all, computer aided, and it's all artificial intelligence, and it is your design. You can have your own design, your own name, your own family logo, whatever you want to do. I mean, if we're innovative in us and work very closely with our friends from various academic institutions, we can turn the world and turn Oman into a more beautiful area to produce quality food. I think you can stop me anytime. You want me to stop because maybe somebody can go through the chat room and more questions later on. But look, some of the ugly pictures that we see is this one. Food waste in the world is around 35 to 50% globally. There's a lot of good quality food thrown out to the garbage every day. Somebody there have to feel guilty, and somebody there have to feel bad, and the government have to have laws and regulations, and we have to be punished, and food have to be separately handled, food waste, so it can be later on converted into energy. We can do a lot with this. In fact, in the Mazoon dairy, we're converting the waste into energy. But look, why should the world be as ugly and as guilty as this one, where millions of people are now undernourished and suffering from lack of food and suffering from lack of basic needs of their needs. So while looking at this, I think we can with this reduce our waste humongously. The world should also intertwine food with medicine, with habits, with taste, with joy, and with experience. And that should be done today. I mean, for your kids and my kids, I don't know what happens in each every household when the mother is trying to convince kids to eat fruits, to eat that apple, and that yucky taste of some kind of a fruit. We have to be innovative because kids are the future, and these are the consumers of the future. We have to start working very closely with them. They may be, liking something like this one. They would definitely eat something like this. They can look, enjoy, play with, and eat. This is a 3D printed food, also by a machine. But this is good food, by the way. It is food that is having everything, because it is scientifically compounded and designed also to fit our needs. So we need to and for some of you who love something like this, still 3D printed food could be one of the major trends that allows for those of you who like to end their meals with something sweet to have something like this done at your keyboard, and your 3D printing machine could produce something like this for you, fresh, hot, and very tasty. So I'm trying to tempt you to eat, but at the same time, we have to understand that the world is changing. The world is also converting to more vegans. So we have to know this is a major trend for the future. People are looking for organic food. People are very much concerned about probiotic and sugar-free. So we have also to cater for the needs of these, millennials and generations that are, going with these trends and fads. People are going vegan, and people are having sugar-free, and and what have you. There is a list of other trends that we can look at. Nutraceuticals and probiotics, lactose-free, gluten-free. See, some of these are already in the market, and there are opportunities for Oman to be a leader. While we have talked about 3D printed food, this is not the end of it. I mean, 3D printed food is just one of the options, and may need to penetrate a bit sort of slowly. Some of the trends here that already started in Oman, a bit shyly, but this is one of the farms that I visited in Japan, in Tokyo. This is the first vertical farm that produces fresh vegetable in Tokyo. But this is now a commonplace in many cities in the world, given the limited land and resources. So this is happening, and Oman have to be able to bring the cost of this technology down, and then be able to use technology in food production, food processing, and computer-aided robotics is the way forward. We have in two of our production units, we have introduced robotics. This is a robotic arm that would reduce our cost by more than 80%. Payback period for the robotic arm investment is only 12 months. So by introducing technology, by introducing automation and robotics, Oman can really make food jobs more attractive to Omanis who would love to work with technology, with artificial intelligence. An example for those like Bankaj who are in the restaurant business, cloud kitchens, Bankaj, this is another future and another vertical that we need to look at. Cloud kitchens is a way forward, and this is where you don't have a seating area. There's no restaurants. It's only a kitchen, the likes of Talabat and the likes of the Uberized services that will allow people to order their food from somewhere which is a kitchen. They don't care if you have a restaurant on don't, because the new movement is given, the current difficulties, that people would love to order their food differently. See what is happening, post COVID-19. We have to think out of the capsule that we have encapsulated ourselves for a long time in a very modest and very conventional way of producing food. But the new normal will come, and the new normal will prevail, and will make us, behind the world if we're not able to cope up with the trends. A lot of research institutions and food activist organizations are seeing the world 10, 20, 50 years from now. And if you're not able to catch up and cope with the new trends, we will be behind. And then the conventional way of serving food in the restaurant would definitely change. If you have a restaurant, you have to know that people will be hesitant to come back. It would take maybe 24 months to get to part of the normal. People would love to see different way of dining at homes. Maybe the experience of dining is needed. So what happens for those who have? I've given the speech, part of the speech, to some restaurant owners who are a bit hit by the COVID-19 sort of lockdown, and I've told them very clearly, you have to change to the new normal, and the new normal will be home delivery and home dining experience through cloud kitchens, and reduce a number of seating areas, and maybe invest in centralized kitchens that would serve a bigger sort of customer base. So my belief that if we're able to catch the future and to see where the world is heading to, we will definitely be able to catch part of part of the technology. If we understand, mobile food buying guides would need to be introduced, and if we understand that Oman is also catching up with the trend, and if we understand very well that the world is changing and Oman is also changing, and I would like to pay homage to and respect to engineer Yusuf Al-Harthi. I know if Yusuf is around or not, but Yusuf has done a great job by introducing drones and the agriculture practices. This is a drone which is put together with the Omani SMEs, a company called Wakan Tech. Wakan is a small village, beautiful village in Oman, in the mountain. It's very cold now, and this is where a lot of fruits are grown, and this is a bit colder area, 3,000 feet above sea level, and they call it Wakan Tech. But Wakan is just a name of a beautiful village in Oman. But the technology here is drones that can do the work of humans needed to pollinate the trees, to pollinate the palm trees. These are the palm trees. Palm trees have to be pollinated manually to make sure that we have ripe, tasty, nice looking, good shape dates. If you don't pollinize the date trees, you won't get good dates. You get a low quantity of dates. So you have to do it either by hand, or you have to use spray technology. There was a spray technology, mixing the pollens with water, was first invented here in Oman, and then it was adopted to the whole Arab world and the rest of the world. But that was the first technology. It was invented here like 20 years ago, and it is a commonplace all villages. What Engineer Yusuf Al-Harthi Wakan Tech did, they have introduced the use of drones to do that. So this is a tank where the pollen is mixed with liquids with water, and then through the nozzles, the drone will go to each and every tree in a palm tree and pollinate it much better than humans are doing, and much faster and much efficient. Only one guy needed, so somebody with his mobile in his hand or his iPad can do the whole control of the drones that would go and do a lot of things. A lot of things could be checking the well-being of the trees, and also pollinating, and then help in the future the same or maybe a bigger size drones can be able to collect the produce, and maybe in the future be able to harvest the produce. The Oman can really adopt some of these technologies because we have the new young generation who are able to do a lot of things. 3D printing is already happening in Oman. A lot of these masks and medical equipment were done. In fact, we have a group of Omanis who are working today on developing ventilators, and working through the source codes to be able to develop something for Oman. I mean, maybe we have to understand new trends. We have to also respect
أبو محمد كملنا ساعة من فضلك، لو نختصر شوية نروح إلى بالموضوع. زين؟ Yeah, 5 minutes will be fine. Yeah, thank you.
Will do. Well, yeah, I mean, if we really understand the needs of customers of the future, this is a digital dining table where people are virtually designing their pizza, okay? So we can do this. I mean, our future food serving should be something attracting where the whole family can come to your restaurant. If restaurants are open and are safe, people would love to do this. They design their own food and then give an order to the kitchen, and a robot would bring their pizza to their table, or maybe a conveyor belt would do that in the future. My take from this we need to understand, to see where is the world moving, and how we can really combine land and water management, agriculture production, rural development, climate change, food security, the need for responsible agricultural practices, and the need for medicinal foods and the need for nutraceuticals and for functional foods. We have to see this together. We have to have a holistic way of seeing the future and look at what Oman can offer the world, given the experience of our group company, your experiences, various experiences in the world, and be able to attract some of these businesses from the subcontinent, from Asia, from Europe, from all of the world, from Africa. Youngsters who have great ideas, lack funding, and maybe lack the infrastructure to develop their ideas. What I can say to you and to all of you, I mean, Oman can really offer that, and Oman can offer you a better place to start up your business. And at the group level here in AFIC, we're all ready to work with you and to share with you and provide you the platform to convert your ideas and convert them into proper products. So we're looking at the products, and as I say, and we have said, we have the ability and the capability to work with all of you and to start with the end product in mind. And that's how the story of AFIC started, and that is the story of food in Oman, and we're still producing more of that. So we'll like to work with you, and the group is ready. I'm ready personally to work with any one of you and to see how we can share some of these ideas and how we can convert some of these ideas into reality and into food, and then be able to leverage the needs given the post-COVID-19 and looking at a new normal for Oman and for the world. Thank you very much for giving me the time. Sorry I have taken so much time, and that's me. If you give me chance, I'll keep talking until you stop me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shanfari, for a very inspirational and informative talk. So we can now proceed with questions. I think we have a lot of questions from our guests. So we will go first with Mr. Saud Al-Farsi. Mr. Al-Farsi?
Yeah, I am with you. Yeah. انجينير صالح، السلام عليكم.
سلام. الله وسهلا.
كيف الحال ابو محمد؟ كيف اخباركم؟ كيف اموركم؟
هذا سؤال كيف الحال؟ الله يسلمك.
Okay. My two questions, it was in the chat. Actually, I'm asking regarding CSR. I mean, in these companies, are they ready to help rural areas? Like we are looking for some, developing and food security actually starting from a rural area, in other words. So if we can secure the food security and livelihood of these areas, so we can say we are starting or we are doing good with food security as initiative from the beginning.
Okay.
My second question, just to clear to lump sum. My second
question, we have 50 people here. Maybe you can go to the second later on once we have enough.
Okay.
So one question each, I think, Mike, and then probably then we can go back if there's time allows. Because so we'll go to this question, Saud. Thank you very much, Bashwandes. Well, thank you very much. I know Saud quite well. He's a soil expert. Saud Al-Farsi is a soil expert. He's a great engineer. He knows the land of Oman quite well. And thank you for being here. Thank you, for Khalil, for allowing somebody like Saud to be with us. Look, we have started working with schools. I mean, we've started with schools. We believe that schools is a good start. So by introducing good practices, we are working with various schools. We started working very closely with the Ministry of Health, UN system, and then thanks to the Ministry of Health, because they have been very, very supportive. The Oman Flour Mill have supported meals for certain schools just to look at food deficiency, micronutrients deficiency. And then what we did, we have introduced fortification programs, the likes of, the things like folic acid, like vitamin D, like vitamin E, were introduced after working very closely with various stakeholders. However, we are supplying meals to areas that are needed. For respecting the identity of these schools, the families of these places. I cannot disclose them, but however, we have a program throughout the group companies, what we call SME, social responsibility, community development, and ecosystem management is a way we do it. So we work with schools very closely, and when needed, we're always there to support. Yes, we want to introduce best practices when we want people to work hard to earn their food. However, if needed, the company the group is very close, and it is embedded in the charter of each and every company that SME development, rural development, and CSR is part of in our creed in the group. Yes. Next question, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Shanfari. So next question goes to Mr. Anil Nihar. Mr. Anil, I believe you are raising your hand.
Yeah. Good evening, Engineer Saleh. Excellent presentation. Especially, it also gives us a lot of comfort that there's a food security, and you also have managed with a very limited capital, which is a great achievement, I would say. I have one simple question. What's the future of aquaponic and hydroponic farms in Oman? Because whichever was established in the past were not very successful. So how do you look at in a current scenario now where food security is becoming an important factor? Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Anil. Look, fisheries development, which will reflect on aquaponics very correctly, has been like in the heart of 2040 and the 5-year plan. His Excellency Dr. Hamad Al-Aufi, the current Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, himself is a global fisheries expert, and he's the one who have really introduced a lot of these fish clusters ideas, like the fish cluster in Duqm, and the aquaculture projects, and the fish sea cage aquaculture, which is already working in Oman, in Qurayat area. So some of these projects started producing. I think the next 5 years will position Oman as one of the leading producers of fish cage production and shrimp production and sea bream and tilapias and the likes of these fish would be produced from fresh water and seawater. At the same time, aquaponics is now started. A number of these companies, for example, Taus and other private small producers, started producing tilapias while also producing vegetables from the same water, which is I think gonna come. I mean, we will see, as I said correctly, the next 5 years we'll see huge jump in food production in Oman, especially from the sea and from water. Talking about aquaponics and cage culture in the sea. Qurayat is an example. The sea bream that you see in the major stores are coming from Qurayat cage farming. So yes, Oman has started already.
I'm more concerned about hydroponic from a vegetable point of view. Is there any government research and development available? Hydroponic on the vegetable.
Yeah, the university SKU camps, what we call College of Agriculture and Marine Sciences, where it happens I'm a board member there, is working very closely with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Agriculture Research Station, and we have model farms. Today we have 5-6 major farms, which are heavily, heavily hydroponics, heavily vertical agriculture production. In fact, you can see today we have beautiful strawberries are produced here in Oman, and a lot of leafy, fresh organic, produce is coming from these farms. But it's coming. It's a trend. A lot of these farms today are supplying to as far as Japan and as far as Europe from Oman. Neighboring countries are also dependent on a lot in these leafy produce that is coming from Oman, daily fresh. So yes, Oman is there. Oman is there, but the journey is quite long. We have to keep marching till we reach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nahar and Mr. Al Shanfari. I believe His Excellency Ambassador of India would like to share his thoughts. Mr. Mahawar.
Thank you. Let me begin by thanking His Excellency Khonji for organizing this, and Engineer Shanfari for excellent presentation, very informative. Really glad to see his vision to take forward Oman in this very important area. I'm also thankful to him for mentioning the very useful collaboration that we are having with Oman, even in this COVID phase. And it really brought out the potential for cooperation between Oman and India. So I would not like to take much of your time, but to say that we are happy to have been working with you closely, and we look forward to continuing this cooperation. Some of the areas you mentioned are really of great interest, and I think there are companies in India who have experience in these areas. So we look forward to working closely with you in developing cooperation in these areas. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Your Excellency, for your comment. At the same time, thank you for the cooperation. Last year, you have arranged for us to send a big delegation to India to meet various agencies and to learn from you and to see the possibilities of working together. So thank you very much. And I'm sure, as you mentioned, there is a lot of venue for us to work together. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Munu Mahawar and Mr. Al Shanfari. And I would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Chang Kyu Kim, His Excellency Ambassador of South Korea. Hi, Mr. Kim. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Excellency. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Saleh, I appreciate your all. I mean, very informative and then intuitive idea, including that kind of the functional food. I mean talking about that kind of one. With respect to that kind of partnership with Korea, I think Smart Farm project is very important initiative. So I'm now trying to connect with that or agri-fishery, processing with that food supply chain. So I think that this is very important the technology area. So I think how we can make it a kind of good test bed, that is very important. So let me dig over. But right now I think we need more the kind of some specific or very concrete business model. So where is our market or our customer? That is very important. So I think Majun Dairy, we should not just satisfy that Omani market. It should be extended to the GCC market. Maybe Aqua, this very good. The logistics hub of that Oman and how we can cover that or MENA area. That is very important. The business solution. So I think we need more business partners, not just Omani domestic participants, but Indian, Korean, and all of the kind of the partners needed. So we need the marketplace for the food. So this is my gut impression of that, or this I mean, this that kind of, I mean, restaurant. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kim. Thank you for visiting me also and sharing with me your ambitions and your experience. Ambassador Kim was a minister in his country, and he has a great experience and a great network all over the world. And his experience as a businessman and an industrialist and somebody who knows business very well, more than politics. Politics is also his realm. That he's coming from a background that would definitely bond the relationship between Oman and Korea from an economic sort of direction. And he himself have offered to support Omani industry in various angles. And I already asked our team in in the fishery sector to work very closely with you on they're definitely would like your support to make sure that Oman and Korea, similarly like to Oman and India and other countries, work together, share ambitions, learn from you, and go with a better technology, better produced to the world. So yes, Oman is the platform, and that's how we're working together with everybody. We wanted Oman to become the food hub for the region and maybe for the world. So not only sell Omani fish, but be able to attract fish from the, all the Indian Ocean, all the Indian Ocean rim, and maybe bring it to Oman, process it here. We'll have great processing facilities and re-export it to the world with a Omani quality stamp on it, because that's very important. The world trusts Oman fish. The world trusts Oman food. So we have to leverage that, and then areas like halal, Your Excellency, and the rest.
Yeah.
The halal food is a trend. It's a major trend. It is a $23 billion trend that we need to capture. So it is growing. Halal is just growing. Halal, vegan, gluten-free is a great trend that we have to capture. So Oman can also support the world from this perspective, because we have very, very stringent halal standard that can fit everybody and every congregation. So yes, I mean, we can be a good partner to yours and to the rest of the world. Your Excellency, thank you.
Touch His Excellency Chang Q Kim. Thank you, sir, and thank you, Mr. Al Shanfari. So Mr. Mohammed Al Abri is raising his hand. Mr. Al Abri, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Engineer Saleh, for the informative presentation. Personally, I enjoyed every second of it. And I have a question about the Technopark and in relation to my specialty, which is genetics, animal genetics. The way I understand the Technopark is that it's an innovative hub for food-related projects and products. As you know, most of the commercially available animals are actually genetically improved through years, through genetic and genomic selection. And these include COP 500, the chicken, Holstein, and even the Wagyu animals of Japan, which I'm certainly you know of. Do you think that OFIC would be probably interested in the Technopark or in any other facility to leverage the genetic capability in developing either a national Omani breed commercially available to the world, or improving its commercial stock through genetics probably in the upcoming years? Because this is a very important issue economically, because these breeds keep improving globally, and so we need to stay at the competitive edge of production. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Muhammad is a PhD graduate from Cornell, and he is one of the scholars of the world in genetics, and he is a very good collaborator with us in the Food Security Committee, as well as various other activities. Of course, you know that Oman have OABGRC, which is Oman Plant and Animal Genetic Center, which is an offshoot of TRC, which fully supported by the government. And they work very closely with us and other agencies to preserve the genetic sort of wealth of Omani indigenous species. At the same time, Minister of Agriculture and the SKU, they are working very closely in enhancing some of the Omani breeds in goats, for example. Just an example. We have distinct Omani goats, Rahbi, and we have the Gabal Akhdar, and we have the Dhufari, and we have various types of animals that are indigenous and native to Oman, you know. So yes, I mean, a lot of work is there, and the spread of these genetic resources and animals are done very well. Just let me give you an example of how this can be done, and you know it better than myself, you being a scientist. The Omani delicate, unique mushrooms of the south, you know, we have more than 35 types of mushrooms. Okay, so news to some of the native indigenous mushrooms of Dhofar. 25 of them are poisonous. But look, the 25 of them which are poisonous are a source of great medicine to the world, to a lot of diseases. But this is rich genetics of Oman. I mean, we have, but it's not me. I mean, we're in the business of producing more food, Dr. Mohammed. We're in the business of producing, basic foods, because we want to make everybody food secure, and we want to make Oman have enough food sufficiency. But there have to come somebody who really works, you know, with pharmaceuticals and scientists from all the world, who have to work with you at SQU and look at the possibilities of extracting some of these elements that would allow people to fight cancer with some of these medicinal factors. Nizwa University, for example, is working very closely with various agencies to develop, you know, anti-cancer medicine from the Luban, from the frankincense of Dhofar, and successfully they have reached a high level of success, you know. So I think Oman can definitely play that role and show the world how to work very closely with indigenous species, at the same time collaborate with the whole world to be nice to the world. I think if we're able to move from the greed of big pharma and show the world the kindness that we can offer to fight diseases, and I think this is the time where the world has awakened a bit. You know, the conscious have come to more human sort of level, where I think collaboratively, you know, we have to work together to produce, you know, good medicine, indigenous medicine, native medicine to the world without the greed of the big pharma, which is maybe angry, you know, sometimes that we try to push them to become more humane. However, Oman can really, through its marine resources and plant resources and genetic resources, animal resources, herbs, you know, spices, we can really do a lot, you know. But just giving another example, that from herbs, we can develop a lot of extracts that can help us in organic farming to spray, you know, with natural spray that won't harm animals. At the same time, it can fight other diseases. I mean, this is what Oman can offer. And I know there's a lot of startups that I was partially coaching who have succeeded in achieving major and global prizes of Omani native you know, extracts and products that are coming from our natural resources. Yes, thanks.
Thank you very much, Engineer Saleh. And just some good news for the Dhofari mushrooms. I have tried to acquire some of them last monsoon, actually, from one of my friends that you know. He's just recently hired Ali Fadl. He was recently hired by Al-Bashair. And we're working on a small project together, actually. Although it's not my specialty in plant science, but I said you have to bring this because he gave it to me once and it tastes superior. So hopefully, if we work it out, then we will approach you again with another idea.
Yeah, great. Yes, yes, that's my passion.
Thank you.
In fact, that was my retirement dream, is to have a small mushroom farm somewhere in the world where I can supply the world with quality mushrooms. Ahmed Al-Amri would like this one because we were kids. We were kids,
Because the funny thing about it is that it only appears in certain areas, and its growth is not very well understood. So if we understood the mechanism by which it grows in the plant science department, then it would be really great.
Yeah, that sounds music to my.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you very much, Mr. Al-Abri and Mr. Al-Shanfari. I believe Mr. Khalil Al-Balushi has a question. Mr. Khalil, you may go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Majlis Khonji, His Excellency Khalil. Thank you, Engineer Saleh. Can you see me with your Mazoon?
Thank you very much.
You see? I'm not having it now, so look.
Great loyal customers.
Thank you. Very, very informative and insightful presentation. Thank you for that. And mostly I saw, and beautiful to see, SDGs are part of our work. I think they should be in every sector. You showed us very interesting 3D printed food. I don't know how that will go with organic food concept, but my question is, some time ago, a lot of countries, maybe neighboring countries, and I don't know if it was a thought here also, to go and get lands, huge lands in Africa maybe, or Indonesia, or places like this, where we can go and grow our food for food security. Was that an idea discussed here with you and your team?
Well, thank you very much, Khalil. One thing to know about Khalil, people tell Khalil said that we resemble each other in facial expressions. So maybe Khalil is much younger, but yes, one day I was surprised when we take a selfie that I showed it to my kids. A lot of resemblance. Khalil is much beautiful, but still, we have similar facial.
I'm not that popular. That is.
Okay. Yes, I mean land. What was called land grabbing, one time politically speaking, was discussed in various platforms. But in reality, we have put this idea aside for so many reasons. We believe land should belong to the people of the land, and if we have to invest elsewhere, we have to work with the local people to produce food. So why we need to own someone else's land somewhere? The land will always stay, ownership of the land and ownership of the sovereign people there. And one day, one day they will just tell you, leave, please. Once social upheaval happens, they will ask you politely or covertly to leave, and you would have lost all your money, and you just decide to leave and to be safe. But the best way to do it is to work with local producers, to maybe acquire companies in the stock market, or through private equity, to go and own part of food making companies. That would allow you to have access to food, to ample food, at the same time to have an exit sort of route and mechanism that allows you to exit anytime you want to. But because self-sufficiency mistakenly was thought of with some wealthy countries, that you go to Africa and buy land and then invest it there and then take the food out. It's not that easy. It was proven that
water scarcity was a major drive for that.
Well, there were so many drivers. One of them is water. One of them is, the cost of production was one way of looking at it. Our understanding of food security is totally different. We believe food security can be attained through so many means and ways. And UN system is very clear. It talks about, it talks about accessibility to food. It talks about affordability of food, and it talks about quality of food. If that is food security, any country that has the capability of accessing food and afford to buy food and have the quality food, quality that covers all our basic needs to live a healthy living, then we are food secure. In this case, all GCC countries are food secure. Let's not mix between food security and self-sufficiency. We can be food secure at the same time. We're not self-sufficient, and we can be self-sufficient and not food secure. For example, some countries in the neighboring world, they produce a lot of food, but they have a lot of food loss. So while they produce more than they need, that food they produce does not reach all over the corners of the country. So you will have countries that are very rich in resources, and they produce a lot of food, but a lot of their population are still suffering from lack of enough food. So we should not mix the two concepts together, food security and self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency is another concept, which is good. So we can be self-sufficient in fish, like the case in Oman, or maybe dates, or maybe dairy in the future. Milk, inshallah, with the next few years will be self-sufficient in white meat and chicken meat, for example. We can be there, but we will not be able to be self-sufficient in every commodity. We will still have to import rice. Thank you, Ambassador from India. And we will still need to import a lot of our meat, but to finish it and finish it here, we will still have to import a lot of wheat. And we cannot be a wheat producing country, but maybe we can reach to 10%, 15% of our needs at a very high cost if we want to do that. But today we have a storage system, one of the best in the world. Oman one time was ranked 26th in the world in food security ranking due to the fact we're able to have enough storage to cover the needs of the country's population from the people and tourists and the inhabitants of the country. Even during crisis, Oman have not suffered any shortage of food throughout the various cyclones or COVID-19s or any other problems. We were able to provide everybody in the country with enough food. So if that's the case, Oman is highly food secure, but we're not self-sufficient. And the two don't have to go together anyway.
Thank you.
So land grabbing is not on the table. However, we see the world differently. We think we can work with every single country and with every single company in anywhere in the world, where cooperation, business modeling, and business dealing should be the way to lead our way of producing our food outside. However, having said that, we have not yet touched directly any other countries. Some of our subsidiaries are working with various countries, but fine, we give them that liberty and freedom to work with various suppliers. But also we also working with the various countries to supply them with food. Not to disclose the secret, if I tell you, we supply buns to fast food chains in Morocco. Okay, we supply bread from Oman to East European countries. So from as far as Morocco and as far north, northern Eastern Europe, we're supplying these parts of the world from high quality bread, which means the high standards of these international franchise chains.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khalil and Mr. Al-Shanfari. Mr. Muhammad Al-Rizaiki, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly. You're raising your hand.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me first. And I also would like to thank Engineer Saleh for his wonderful speech. There's no doubt, of course, that OFIC is doing a great job in many significant contributions, including production outputs, including employment. And they're also involved in our students' internship program last year and the year before that. They're also doing lots of added products, food added products. And what is exciting me now is that they are following the food chain, and they're usually monitoring the safety and the quality and the stability of the food from the beginning along the food chain, from the environment, like from the farm down to the animals, fish, all the way down to the abattoir and maybe to the industries. And my question now, they usually monitor the food all the way down till the industry or the food industries. But my question now is after the food industries. So I'm asking now is about the corporate responsibility between the OFIC. It could be in their vision or maybe in their plan, but now their corporate responsibility with the other food business owners or food business operators. Many of you here, some of you could be food business owners and some are food business operators. And my question now, how is the OFIC dealing in, let's say, it's not a training them, but how they are dealing in corporate way with the business owners in different retailers, wholesalers, and probably other firms. So this is my question to Engineer Saleh, and thank you. It was very wonderful, and thanks. That's the question.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mohammed Rozaiqi. Mohammed is an expert, and he's of course in the university staff system. He's also from academics. At the same time, he is well versed in a number of fish processing, fish canning, tuna, and quality assurance, and so on. He's a good resource, very supportive. Let us make sure that we have enough food supply and we remove all the hurdles, all the difficulties to make sure that Omani food products have enough access in the marketplace and the retailers market. So for example, today if you go to the likes of Carrefour, you will definitely find Oman fish coming from quality processed Oman fisheries. That to give you the assurance. So today we, given the COVID-19, we made sure that we pack your fish into a sealed bag, so where human intervention is very, very limited. So, I mean, we do that quite closely with the retailers. We believe that is a partnership. However, I think everybody have to be more efficient. So those in the retail business, like Haidar, what are you doing? Okay, those of us who are in the retail business, Bankaj, I think is still here. I don't know if he left or still here. Bankaj, you're here. So yeah, I mean, so the likes of retailers who they definitely need to restructure. They need to revisit the way retail business is working today. Every retailer have to have ways and means to deliver food to homes more efficiently, I should say. A lot of them have started already, but I think that's the new normal, and they have to be able to work with us, maybe direct supply from our stores instead of direct supply from their stores. You know, we have to be innovative, and we are ready to work with every retailer, Dr. Mohammed. Hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Engineer Saleh, and I wish you all the best. Also, wish you the OFIC all the best, and hopefully we'll have more and more cooperation in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Shanfari. May we call on Mr. Simon? Mr. Simon?
Very much. Thank you. أستاذ صالح أستاذنا الكبير مساء الخير. Without trying to diminish at all what OFIC has achieved and is achieving, I have two questions and a comment. See, looking at your vision and what you're looking at and the speech you're delivering, are you not taking the role of the Ministry of Fisheries? That's first question. And second, are you not encroaching a lot on the role of the private sector when you talk about projects like logistics and collecting vegetable and fruits? Mind you, this project was done in Oman 1970. So that's the first question. I mean, do you work closely with the Ministry of Fisheries? Because one time you seem you're a great developer for food safety, and one time you become like a regulator. The second question, and I go back here to His Excellency Ambassador Kim, which is vital for all our industries, whether it is food or which is the marketing and the size of our market and how we can enlarge this. And in that respect, are we ready to market enough? Are you training people? Are they now today in India selling, or are we opening the country to have more customers in our country so that some projects become more viable? These are the two questions. And to talk about future, a man of my age, you know, although I appreciate 3D food, but I will never eat it. I will always stop at a biryani and have a good biryani with some bread. It's too complicated for me, although I recognize what you call the nutraceutical. Yes, we have to improve our immune system, but from there to go and do 3D food for myself.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
Abu Karim, you have asked 3 questions. The role was only one. So maybe I'll take the liberty of answering the most difficult one. And the most difficult one is encroaching on someone's role. And that's a very, very difficult legal trap for me, you know. So no. We're working very closely. Mind you, the chairman of OFIC is the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries. So in fact, we work very, very closely. All our projects are screened by them, by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. And there are a lot of projects which are not really seen as attractive by private sector. We do step in and take the first role of what we call, the lead role. And then slowly we do exit. Exit once there is a success rate, and at the same time, the risk factor is removed. Then private sector can step in and we have to exit, you know. The strategy with OFIC as developed, as envisaged, is that one day we will have to be a very, very minor, financial investor. And this is the journey. So we start with a project, for example, a project like date processing. Say date processing historically was not very attractive business for a lot of business houses. So we managed to develop the project, brought 1 or 2 private sector companies with us. But as of today, since the project construction has started, we have interested parties from all over the world and from local who wanted shares from our shares. What we do, we offload part of our shares to them until we become the minority. However, we stay for a while just to give that government assurance and support till the time comes when the project is functional, productive, have less risk, and then slowly we'll be able to say goodbye to the management and give it to the hands of the new management and new owners. So similarly, Mazoon Dairy, for example, we only own 20%, but that 20% will not stay forever there. It's ready for exit the minute we see the project becomes less riskier and more profitable. And that's what we do. We work very closely with private sectors, government funds, pension funds, FDIs from outside Oman. That's the approach OFIC have taken, contrary to some of the state-owned enterprises who have 100% ownership for reasons, of course, very, very good reasons, because service-driven activities sometimes have to be taken over by government. However, I do agree with you 100%. that the 3D printed food are not meant and designed maybe for somebody my age or your age. However,
mine, not yours.
However, we have to catch mega trends for, say, maybe 10% or 5% of the world's population. It's like vegan. Today, globally, vegan is around 8 million people. But all the trends say they're growing. I'm looking at vegan as a trend, not the veg done veg, which is millions of people there. But I'm talking about new trend, which is a new fad of vegan movement, is growing, and it's gonna grow and grow and grow and grow. And we ignore it. We cannot really ignore it because we will lose a lot. It's an opportunity for us. It's a challenge, and it is an opportunity. We always tell the people, convert all challenges into profitable opportunities. And this is what Oman can do, Abu Karim. So your wisdom with our courage can go together, and then it would definitely end up having us great sort of ample food production, be it 3D printed or deformed
or
shape.
4D printed with time as well. Just a little detail. You said, does OFIC own only 20% of Mazoon?
Yes, we only own 20%. That's the model.
Who owns the rest then? I always thought it was a government thing.
No,
or is it a secret, or you don't want to disclose?
No. It's funds, it's companies, it's private sector, and as I told you before, you're always welcome. You and any of our audience, business owners, are always welcome to be part of the story that we are in. However, having said this, look, we have new projects are also coming. We would love some of you coming as part of that.
Yeah, you talked about that.
I know the time is not right given COVID-19 uncertainties, but look, this time will pass, and hopefully soon we would just have learned from this, and it will be another jump, and it's another leapfrog for Oman, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really, thank you. It's very, very encouraging that we see drivers like yourself starting from an idea, from a trip to Iran with His Excellency Khalil, to reach that level and that feeling of confidence, as one of the presidents said, they feel confident now about our food security. Thank you so much.
This is the trap Khalil puts you in when you travel with him.
I know.
I know that very well. Huh? He hooks you to something.
Thank you.
I have another exactly 7 minutes to go because another lecture starts at 11 exactly. So maybe for our time manager, if you want to wrap up or we want to add another question.
Yes, Mr. Shanfari, Mr. Simon, thank you so much. We have last question from Mr. Mohammed Al-Lawati.
السلام عليكم أستاذ مهندس صالح كيف الحال؟ Thank you for a great presentation and to open also give us opportunity to open the doors to invest in the food industry. I have one question only. If any plans in Mazoon Dairy to produce lacto-free products, especially we are facing a lack in market, GCC market, and when I'm personally facing this problem myself, I cannot eat anything with lactose. I'm lactose tolerance. So I have to order all the products from outside the country, and it's very expensive. I think a lot of Omanis are facing same problem, and GCC also. So any plan to produce any lacto-free, because it's really having good market. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Shukran, Mohammed. Thank you very much. In fact, yes, we do have the plan. It's just only time because of the force majeure, situation of some of our technologists who are trapped in Europe. We were not able to speed up the production of so many other varieties. In fact, we plan to have more than 200 SKUs, and one of them would be lactose-free, yes, but it would take some time. But it's already in the table, yes. So please be assured that you and Mohammed Ja'far and others who have special taste will definitely cater for you. Yes.
Shukran lak. Shukran bash.
Thank you, Mr. Alawati. Mr. Abdullah Rama, I believe we have, yes. Yes, sir.
Could this be the last question? Because I have only 3 minutes to go.
Maybe he's not there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Maybe Khalil should add a final word.
I'll give it to Muhammad Khalil Khonji to wrap up. He's architect, but his interest is in farming and in agriculture.
هلا colleague هلا.
تفضل محمد.
Thank you, Ammi Saleh, for the presentation. I don't know exactly where to start from because there's a lot to take in. But I will start from the future food and, the function of the food. So when you were talking about 3D printed food, even I wouldn't eat that. It looks like children's food. I would also rather eat a biryani. So I don't think that's in anywhere close, not even for my generation. And about robotic technology for the kitchens, probably, especially at this time, we're all sitting at home and everyone wants to leave. Usually, when you go out for a night, especially here in Oman and not in the UK, but here you go for food and you go to restaurants and you go for some fun, not only for the food. So when you just say cloud kitchens, I think that won't be as big as everyone imagines, in my perspective. And for food security, I'm also looking into that with a few of my friends, and we're wanting to start small and going big, inshallah. And I think because I study in the UK, and when you go to Tesco, for example, a lot of their products are from the UK, and they tell you what is from the UK and what's from outside. And I think Oman should reach that level where most of their products are from Oman. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, Engineer Saleh. Thank you, everyone. I think you have no time left. So thank you again. And hope to see you tomorrow. We have His Excellency Abdul Nabi Sha'ala from Bahrain. Thank you. مع السلامة.
Well, thank you very much.
See you.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.